But
You don't.
actually, this is a great segue because, whenever one goes on Facebook or any social media at all, you go on with a purpose, or at least I do. I'll go on with a purpose and say, I'm about to do this one thing. And then about 20 minutes later, I've been distracted, all my time is gone, and I have to rush usually into the next thing because I have no idea what has happened. Just time is gone. And I know that
Yep.
this is something that you've probably experienced many times yourself. And so why don't you go ahead and give us the delicious, delightful, wonderful introduction to Tanya's world, and tell us why you're so passionate about time management.
Okay. Well, as you heard, my name is Tanya Dotson-Winckler, and I am the founder of 180 Degree Time Management. And I started that program back in 2012. And the reason that I started it was because I was experiencing, I've been a small business owner myself since 1999. So my passion is for small business owners. But back then, I wasn't kind of identifying as a small business owner because I had been a consultant for so many years. So what happened was I went from consulting to having my first small business in 1999, but I shared it with a partner. So it didn't feel like, my own small business because there was always someone to bounce stuff off of and someone to share stuff with. So then, we decided that we were going to go in two different directions. She continued with the family coaching that we started together. And I decided that I wanted to do some coaching because I just love coaching. And I just wanted to do straight up coaching of executives. And I started coaching my executives and it went so fast, it got so popular and so successful so fast that I nearly burnt out. And I thought, this is not the way this is supposed to go. It's
Yeah.
supposed to burn out on your success, right? It's like, that's crazy, man. So I decided that I was going, so I started using my own product, basically, my own coaching product on
Mhm.
myself. And I reversed my overwhelm and I reversed my burnout. And then, of course, I don't, you know how things just get into the atmosphere and people start vibing with what you're putting down, right? You're picking up what I'm putting down. So my executive clients started asking me out of the blue, right? Hey, do you do a time management piece? And I was like, oh, that's so funny. You should ask me that. So what I did was take what I had used for myself and I packaged it for, my executive clients. And then let me see, I guess about 5 years of working with executives. And then I actually started to realize, oh yeah, I'm a small business owner. And small business owners are out here hustling and scuffling and burning out by the millions. Yeah. And my tagline,
Yeah.
or my mission is to help, small business owners reframe their workday and leverage their time. Because what I taught my executive clients and also have taught, over 100 small business owners at this point is that traditional time management does not work for us. Okay. It's outdated. It's outmoded. I just did a live on Facebook this morning talking about, Mad Men and how, they hit it hard and there's this hustle culture and get in there and hustle and everything. But, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not taking
Mhm.
care of your family, if you're not taking care of your children, you're going to turn around one day and your business will be thriving and you will be by yourself. Or the other way around. And this is what seems to be the tug of war that we small business owners deal with. Yeah. It's like we're either over here with
Mhm.
our, or we're over here with our family, or we're over here with our health, or we're over here, with our business, and there's no balance. Yeah. And it's not even work-life balance because for us that doesn't really exist. It's just straight up, am I living a fulfilled, exactly. Yeah, that's a very good, visual. Am I living my
Yeah.
Am I living a fulfilled, joyful, happy? Do I still even have the passion for my small business? Because now, I'm running at 90 miles an hour trying to keep up with my business and trying to keep up with everything else. And now, I'm starting to look at my business and be a little, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And
Right,
that to me is the most hurtful thing. That's the most, you thought up this great idea, you launched it, you did your due diligence and you did the hustle and grind, for the first maybe, couple of months, 6 months and everything. But if you're still doing that, something's wrong.
right, right. Oh my god. Yeah, yeah, you're so spot on. We're coming at yeah, we're here today because you and I vibe so well, and, like, we're addressing the same problem from 2 different angles, and, ah, like, the hustle culture is it just drives me absolutely crazy, and it got exported from Silicon Valley,
Yep.
so it sounds shiny, it sounds exciting, but as you just said, what small business owners miss that the rest of the startups understand is that the hustle is only supposed to last for a short period of time. It's a sprint. It's
Yes.
only supposed to be a sprint. And just like you said, like of course you start to hate your business if you've been sprinting along a marathon. Can you imagine somebody actually sprinting a marathon? They would die.
Well, that's what happens. That's exactly what happens. They're trying to
Yeah.
sprint it. That's a
Yeah.
very good way of putting it. And then at some point, very early on, they're falling out, right? And they're falling out with
Yeah.
exhaustion and they're falling out with overwhelm and, they're starting to
Right.
lose connection with the people that they care about the most. The reason that they
Right.
started business in the first place, they lose connection with that, and
Yes.
it just becomes something that is it was not, it wasn't supposed to be this way.
No, exactly right. Yep. But it makes sense, when you're just starting as a small business owner. And like I preach at this as well because I was that small business owner who did all the research, how like what should life look like? How should I be? I'm just starting out. I'm a baby entrepreneur. I'm the first entrepreneur in all of my friends. So there's no one to kind of like help me with the culture of like what should my life look like now? So you go to the internet, you find hustle culture. You think, okay, if I don't get out of bed by 6:30 this morning, every weekday, and maybe even sometimes the weekends, and my competitors are going to get ahead of me, and like I've got to catch up because I haven't been in business long enough, and you just start to basically should all over yourself, right? I should be doing this, I should be doing that, and then you end up so burnt out. I was there where I almost threw it all away because I didn't know what else to do because all I was finding was keep hustling, keep hustling, keep hustling.
Yeah.
I would love for you said something I was like, "Zoom, bam, that." Um, can you go deeper into the, like, traditional time management doesn't work for small business owners? Can you
Mhm.
unpack that for us? That was brilliant.
Sure. Well, here's the thing, it's traditional time management only points at what you should or should not be doing. It does not tell
Mhm.
you how. Right? So, especially for us that, we're creatives, we're tactile, we're, visual, and you're like, yeah, stop procrastinating. Uh, you know, yeah, okay, nice. How do I do that? Oh, well, you just have to do like Joe, or go read the book, or, download my ebook. I'll tell you what to do, but I'm not going
Yeah,
to tell you how to do it. That's the trap of traditional time management. You get hooked with the title of the book, they talk about things like doing the one thing or, eat that frog or, whatever
right.
the fancy catchphrase is at the moment. But they
Mhm.
don't tell you how because they can't. That's
Mm.
the key. Traditional time management cannot tell you how to manage your time because you cannot manage time. That's the myth. That's the myth underneath the whole thing. So I'm just going to blow it up. I've been blowing it up on Facebook. I talk about it all the time. Time management is a myth, okay? Because time is static. It doesn't change. 24/7, 365. You got it. I got it. President's got it. Leader of the free world's got it. That's what you got. That's what you have to work with. And you can't manage something static. It's like trying to manage gravity, you know? Gravity is, you can't fall up, you can only
Ah, damn.
fall down, okay? So, again, so traditional time, and the other thing about traditional time management and small business owners or entrepreneurs is that those two things are diametrically opposed to each other, okay?
Hmm.
Time management was for the 9 to 5 crowd. That's why it was invented. Get into your office. You have a set role that you fulfill in your company. You do that thing that you do that they hired you for, and then possibly time management can work for you there because you're doing the same
Mhm.
thing. Now, no, as small business owners, we wear all the hats.
Okay, so, like, what you were just describing where, as you said, like, you have to manage your reaction. I actually often will describe it to my clients as, like, slingshotting into different things, like, you're allowing yourself to be just, like, pulled and yanked in all the directions. And
Mhm.
the way you were describing, reaction management and organization actually sounded to me like I was imagining on the factory floor of, a sort machine, like, this one goes here, this one goes here, and just, like, little doors opening and closing and kind of, like, gathering and sorting and organizing the things that are coming in so that then when I'm ready, I can to this box and work here, and then I could go to this box and work in here, and I could go to this box and work in here. Um, does that am I close? Wha or am I totally off with regards to what you're describing, managing reactions of all the things?
Well, that's a good framework that you have. It's just that on any given day, if your
Mhm.
framework breaks down, that's your day. Okay,
You
there
bet.
you go. Yeah, yeah, any of those boxes that you're trying to fill up with any of those activities, if there's a glitch in the box, or that someone doesn't show up, or you have, because here's the thing, that's the other thing about that I talk about all the time online. Your traditional time management is for people that are, yeah, it doesn't even work for those people, but just for the sake of argument, you're
Mhm,
human. You're not going to wake up in the same mood every day. You're not a machine. If you show up at your desk and let's say you've just, you're getting ready to get into one of those boxes, right? And you've just had an argument with your significant other. How do you think that's going to go,
mhm, mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Or if you
right.
slept poorly, right?
Yep.
Or, bad night's sleep, right? So traditional time management, once again, it doesn't take the human factor into consideration. And boxing things, same thing. It does not take the human
Mhm.
factor into consideration. You got the thing that you've got to manage is this and this.
Yeah,
You got to do some
yeah.
significant mindset work. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what time you get up. You can start, you can get up and hit the floor at 5 a.m. and fall over at midnight. But if you're not,
Oh.
yeah, that, exactly.
Well, and as you said, like, again, we even if we feel like we've controlled ourselves or, like, gotten ourselves down to a refined machine magically somehow, external circumstances play a huge role. For example, one of my good friends said, a couple weeks ago, he had a complete wash the whole week, nothing happened because he spent a significant amount of his career in, Ukraine, and there's some
Mm,
stuff happening there right now that's
there
very
is,
present of mind, right?
yeah.
So no matter how much you think you've got things under control, just as you said, other stuff is going to happen, that will be distracting. And I think what you also did was make a very good point about the fact that it's not just like stuff happens, like we don't sleep well, or the refrigerator breaks or whatever, and like we've got to address that. First of all, we're entrepreneurs in part because it gives us the freedom to address that. I don't have to wait until 5 p.m. later on today in order to fix the fridge, right? Like I
Right.
could call the guy to come now, and then when they come, I can take a break and address it. But oftentimes, in my opinion, the hustle and the boxes and the forcing of just be this way on this day or in this hour takes away our very important ability to be empathetic, emotional creatures. And I'm not
Oh my,
talking about like, you know, throwing my arms up in the air and like running down the street, but like part of what makes us amazing entrepreneurs is our ability to empathize and identify with our emotions and then use that as you said, like that creativity font. Um, and I think it's really important.
absolutely. It's we're not making widgets. You know, a lot of the time we are dealing with, possibly our product, like my product, is for other human beings, for other professionals. We're working with people, we're working with habits, we're working with things that flex. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
if we're not having the ability to flex, then it's
Mhm.
going to really impact our ability to serve the client and the client's ability to have the result that they hired us for. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we've talked about the what, we're talking about time management, what happens with time management, what does it do for us? We talked a lot about the why now. So like why do we need to think about it differently? What does that look like? Why is it so important? But I'd love to dive into the how now because as you said, a lot of times we talk about the what's, we might even talk about the why, but we don't talk about the how. We don't help people meet the rubber hit the road. We don't meet them where they are. At least a lot of those like type people that go out there and they just like fire away pontifications and then leave you and you're like, wait, that sounded good, but I have no idea what to do next. So
Right.
I'd love for first to step back. You were saying, like you were in that state of overwhelm. It was burnout city, but you knew that you didn't want to give up what you'd created because you loved the work. It was just, everything else it felt like it was really driving you into the ground. So there was a turning point. And I know that
Sure.
because I was also in that place and I know that there's an important turning point that brings us out of it. And so I'd love to hear like what was your turning point? What did you start to change, that helped you come out of that burnout place?
Well, it's like the name of my company. The very
Mhm,
first thing that I changed was my perspective. Okay.
mhm,
And I changed the perspective from outward to inward. That's all I did, because if you continue to look at anything outside of
mm,
yourself as the cause of your
yeah,
procrastination, the cause of your distractions, the cause of the fact that you get interrupted all day long, the cause of, the fact that you have a to-do list that just grows and grows and grows. You keep pointing your finger at those things outside of yourself, nothing will change. Nothing. So that's why I named my company 180-degree time management, because the very first thing you've got to do is you've got to change your perspective. It's like the front and the back of the hand, right? If you're looking this way, you see one view. If you look this way, you see another view. So that's the very first thing I do with all my clients. I take them and we switch their perspective 100, we turn their perspective 180
mm,
degrees and we shine the light on them. Now, a lot of
mhm,
people, initially, they don't like that. But because I have the proof that it works, it's like, all right, I'm a grit and bear it, and I'm going to take a look at me. And what's interesting is this is absolutely the very first time that they've done it. So all of the
mm,
because of all of the traditional time management, they've read all the books, they've downloaded all the ebooks, they've, done all of the online stuff for, 2.99, right? They've bought the newest widget, they've downloaded every app, they've got all these bells and whistles going off, and that might save them a little bit of time, but it's not going to change their perspective. It doesn't change their perspective. And because they don't change their perspective, it doesn't change the outcome significantly. So if you
mm,
significantly want to change your outcome, that's the very first thing you have to do is you have to switch your perspective 180 degrees. The next thing is that you've got to learn what I have coined reframing your workday and leveraging your time because you can't manage
Mhm.
it. So that's the
Mhm.
teach people. I teach them how to reframe their workday and therefore leverage their time. And leverage, everybody knows the terminology of leverage, using other people's time and using other people's money. Well, this is the same sort of concept. Yeah. You've got to be able to use your other people's how do I put this? You've got to use a different perspective of how to leverage time. You've got to learn how to make time work for you rather than against you. And, of course, I can talk about this, but, but you have to get the tools to be able to actually do it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, again, it's just going to be more blah, blah, oh, now Tanya's talking about reframing your workday and leveraging your time. And how does one do that? So you've got to actually get on the court. That's the other thing about traditional time
Mhm.
management books and stuff. You can't really feel the impact until you've gotten on the court and you've got some skin in the game. Yeah. So that's the other thing that's very important, is that you be able to take the technology that I teach my clients and then have them apply it and then have them come back and then tweak it and then go and have them apply it and then have them come back. And so you tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak until you hit that sweet spot. And then it's like, good, you're good to go there.
Mhm.
The next thing, what else are you dealing with? Are you dealing with it? Because you can't just take, all right, we're going to fix overwhelm. No, you're not. Okay. No, you're not. Okay. You're going to have
Yeah.
dismantle overwhelm. And the way you
Mhm.
dismantle overwhelm is you got to get to the source of your overwhelm. And that means, once again, that you've got to first change your perspective. And then once you have gotten to the source, and then I also do something, oh yeah, that's the other thing. You got to change your beliefs. That's the source of your overwhelm. It's your core beliefs. And once again, that's looking at you rather than looking at all of the widgets and the apps and everything that, you're looking outside of yourself. So there's something that I do that no one else does, and that's take your beliefs and have you actually reframe those so that they work for you. Like, if you
Mhm.
have a um, uh, I never have enough time. Time's always running out. There's not enough time in the day. There's that's the same thing they do in finance. I don't have any at the end of at the end of the
Yes.
money. There's too much month left, right? Well, it's the same
Right.
principle.
Right.
At the end of the workday, there's so many assignments left. There's so much work left. There's so much still on my plate. You got to reframe that. You can't just
Right.
go and say, okay, well, I'm going to start earlier and I'm going to work later, which is, one of the
No.
so
Right.
traditional
There will always
approach.
be more.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
answer?
Yeah, it does. I love it because I'm thinking so much of actually several people, and like you said, read all the books, been through it all, but I think what you really landed on is the true power of coaching, of having somebody who is an expert who can walk it with you, because everyone's different. And
Yes.
when you're talking about something like this, which is not just, okay, you need more tools, it's you need the right tools for you and for your business. Both of those are unique.
Yes.
And there's beliefs, there's a perspective that has been keeping you in this cycle anyway, and that's unique. And we need to work you out of that. And so
Mm-hmm.
you can't just like you just said, like there's no like quick fix, here you go, get it done. We have to talk about the whole person and the whole business in order to find where's the part that's gumming up the works, and let's find why it's gumming up the works. Where's the gum coming from?
Right, exactly. And that's the thing that this program that I've developed is able to do in a shorter amount of time, between 8 and 12 weeks. You can actually
Mhm.
get to the source of all that, and you can get it turned around to the point that you can start saving 10 to 20 hours or winning back 10 to 20 hours of personal time per week. And that's significant.
Huge.
That- yeah, but
Yeah,
that's because of how I've
absolutely.
designed it. so that, we can quickly get to the source. And then,
Mm.
the tools that I've created that, of course, like I said, I tried it on myself first, worked for me, tried it on my executive coaching clients, worked for them. Then I created a program that you can do online with me as your coach, doing some coaching, some online modules, and some group work. That's the other thing. And I don't want to get off of here and think, have people think that they can do this on their own. This is like, another one of those, don't try this at home, because in order for you to actually be able to recover or
Mhm.
to 20 hours of personal free time per week, you're going to need two specific things other than the coaching and the tools. You're going to need massive support, and you're going to need accountability. And those two
Mhm.
things, books can't give you that. On the other online programming that's available, that doesn't give you that. It doesn't,
No.
it doesn't give, how is that going to hold you accountable? Oh yeah, I'm going to
No.
put a in my calendar, and on that date, I'm going to hold myself accountable. I'm having a good talking to myself, and it's like,
No. Well, and like
yeah,
you said, like, there's a perspective issue, and so if I feel like I'm trying to hold myself accountable and then I'm not achieving what I had set out to achieve, right? And so then I'm sitting down and talking to myself about it, there's still a blind spot. There's still something I'm missing. There's, like you said, there's a tool missing from the toolbox.
yeah,
So, where's that tool gonna come from? Obviously, I don't have it, and I'll read more books or try to slog through, but at the end of the day, isn't it just easier and, like, less heartache to work with someone who has made it happen? I like to say, well, this is from my coach, actually, yes, I politely stole it from her, and she says this to all of her coachees, so I know I'm not stealing it too bad, but she says that we always teach what we need to learn, and it's
absolutely.
you are teaching what you needed to learn that
Mhm.
didn't change your life and change your burnout and helped you get to the place that you want to be. I teach scaling, which is what did it for me. That's what we need to learn, and we want for others to learn too, to expand and have the wealth of freedom, whether it be freedom of time, freedom of finance, freedom of location, right? Like we all became entrepreneurs because we want to be more free. If we're burning out and don't have any time,
That don't make
free.
no sense. That's,
Mm-mm.
the opposite of what we were getting out here to do. And here's the other thing, the reason that I created this kind of programming, a group program, was so that I could teach more people at the same time.
Right.
Because I'm doing one-to-one coaching. That's it. That's me. And how many can I do a day? I can do 3 or 4 or 5 a day, right? That's nothing.
Maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah,
exactly.
maybe because your
Nothing.
energy, yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm on a mission, okay? And my mission, because in the last few years, I've been able to help 100 small business owners to reframe their workday and leverage their time so that they can
Mm.
have the freedom to enjoy the lives that they work so hard for. So now I'm like, great, I've created this group program because I'm on a mission for 100 small business owners in 2022. So I'm right
Yeah.
my goal sheet over here, and it's 2 down, 98 to go. So I'm
It
looking to,
is.
yeah, I want to be able to impact more people in this area because, first of all, I'm a small business owner myself. So I have a
Mhm.
real heart for small business owners. I feel for us. I know what we're like. I know what we're up to. I know where we derive our joy and our pleasure from serving our clients. And I also know that it's difficult for us because we don't have a lot of role models that we're together with. We get on this podcast, or there will be another group. So I'm gathering a group on
Yes.
Facebook, and in my group program, I gather a group where they can look at each other and go, well, if she did it, I can do it, right? And then the person that did it can turn around and say, yeah, I was just like you, and this is what I did,
Right.
and this is how it
Right.
worked. And it's like
Yeah.
ripples in a pond, ripples in a pond.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, and I noticed the same thing for my group where, um, somebody will bring up a topic that just it wouldn't have come up during private coaching between this person and me because we're so focused on something so different. But this
Right.
person brings it up, and then all of a sudden this person says, hold the phone. Wait, I didn't even think about that. It just wasn't even in the realm of possibilities until this moment. And that's
Right.
when the fireworks get to start going off, which is really fun too. And
Yeah.
I love private coaching. I'm here for it. It's my absolutely my bread and butter. But the group aspect is really, really beautiful because of that kind of chain reaction that can happen
Yeah,
between people.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I love okay.
It's two things. Like I said, it's the group, it's the support and the accountability. So, like what you
Mhm.
just described, someone will say something, oh, I never thought of that. And then someone else will say something and at the same time, when they're up to something, like right now, I don't know how it is in your group, but there's a topic up right now with us called decluttering. And it
Mhm.
seems like the pandemic has really exacerbated the amount of clutter that those of us that work from home, quote unquote, or, because we didn't go to our small offices. If we had our small offices, we just, so there's a whole bunch of, people are now like, they're kind of like digging out of, oh, okay, now we're past the pandemic, we can come outside, and they turn around and it's like, oh my God, I gathered a lot of crap. Or I had been gathering a lot of crap, and the fact that I've had to be in my house for 2 years
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
home office rather than going to my away office has really made it clear that I got a lot of stuff and I want that to be gone. So, we're doing group
Yeah.
events, 90-day
Mhm.
challenges and things, but we get to hold each other accountable, and we have the same technology, which means we also have the same language.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah. For sure. So I would love for you to tell us a story about one of your favorite cases, not breaking any sort of client confidentiality, obviously. But just like who do you look back on and you go, yes. And then from there, if we do, sometimes we have people live, sometimes everyone's in the wants to get their hands on the recording of the workshop. So if we have anybody who pops in after your story, we'll go to Q&A. Otherwise, we'll wrap up. But I would love to just let's put flesh on the bones and hear about somebody that you're just so excited that you helped.
I have my favorite story, and I have her permission to talk about it. So,
All right.
because I talk about it all the time because I just think that this is amazing. Um, my client that has had a product, an item on her to-do list for the longest time is 30 years. She had an item on her to-do, yeah, exactly. So I'm talking about, for those of, for those of you who have to-do lists, I don't use them anymore. I actually teach people how to eliminate them for good. Because of exactly this type of thing. So I don't know if you've noticed it for yourself. There will be a few items on your to-do list that just keep coming up to the top, and then you put them back down on the bottom. And they keep coming up to this, oh, I can't do that right now. Oh, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, oh, I don't have the wherewithal, I don't, and this item just circulates. Do you have an item like that, Veronica, that keeps coming back up in your to-do list?
I actually don't, but because I use bullet journaling, which intends to eliminate that thing. But
Good.
I past Veronica definitely used to have things like that.
Okay, so that's one of my favorite stories. She had this item on her to-do list for 30 years, and we got it off her to-do list in 10 minutes. That's, and it was learning to drive. And it was because she had, when she was 17, I think she was doing, her stepdad was taking her on driving lessons. You know how your parents take you out in the car and everything. And he was not the person to be doing that, for a
Oh,
teenage
yeah.
girl. So she made a decision, and that decision lodged itself in her, in her psyche and in her throat. And, so she, oh, I just shouldn't be driving, because he said something like, and this is 30 years ago. So,
Yeah.
um, there was no, Me Too, or there was no, correct,
Mhm.
call it, the correct way to do things. You just kind of said what was there for you. And so he just said
Yeah.
something awful, like, you're the
Mhm.
last person that should ever be allowed behind a wheel, something like that. Yeah. Or
Right.
that's
You're
what I
young and
heard.
you're vulnerable and you're still so impressionable.
Exactly. That's what she heard. Whatever it was he said, that's what she heard, and that's what stuck with her. So what we were able to do was dig that out and then have her do the, so once we dug that out, it was like, okay, so are you going to allow the decision of a 17-year-old to control the rest of your life? And within 10 minutes, she had done the one thing that I was like, what is it that you need to do? She said, I need to call my husband. I was like, well, go do that. And she called her husband. 10 minutes later, she was signed up for driving lessons, and she's now been driving for the past 5 years. And this is in London, right? I don't,
Yeah, yeah.
American. I lived in Copenhagen, Denmark for 30 years. I drove there, but there's no way I would drive in London. So, I totally understood her trepidation, but it wasn't because of left side of the road, because she grew up with that. It wasn't any of that. It had nothing to do with the car. It had nothing to do with any of that. It had everything to do with what was lodged in her psyche. Politically correct was the word I was looking for earlier. So yeah,
Oh, sure. Yeah, right.
stepdad did not do the politically correct thing and say, honey, perhaps you're going to need more practice, or honey, I don't think I'm the one to teach you this because my patience or
Right.
my anxiety or whatever, I care about you so much. I'm just, he just blurted out, as only a man can, like, that's it. You don't need to be doing this. This is not for you. Right. So that's my favorite story. I have loads of them, but that's my getting something off your to-do list. That's my record, the record setting, getting something off someone's to-do list that have been there for 30 years.
Wow. And yeah, like you said, like the reasoning behind it had grown so stale. But when that happens to you, especially at a young age, whatever it was that got onto the to-do list and then was trapped on the to-do list, there is something significant to that person that is
Mhm.
holding them back from the accomplishments. And I think what
Absolutely.
what I want to underscore is that managing one's time, managing the tasks, making choices around how we're using our time is not just around this like finite, counted, structured thing. It is very subjective. And
Absolutely.
the beliefs we hold, the ideas we have, the way we navigate our day to day world affects that significantly. Um,
Yeah.
and so I love that. And I love that you are here for small business owners who might be struggling with this because I think a lot of us.
Well, I know y'all are. And here's the thing that I also wanted to, just swing back around to when you talk about one-to-one coaching. I love one-to-one coaching. I adore it. So there is a component of that in my group programming, but it's very short and it's very, it really honed into what do you want to get out of this next 30 days? Where are you
Right.
now? And what do you need? And then the group takes over. And then there's
Right.
training inside of the group. So, it is a combination of both. And the other thing is that, oh yeah, this is the good thing. In the group programming,
All of
uh,
this has been good things.
you just keep giving me clues in the cues in the group programming. Someone's always going to be there that has a similar problem to you. So what I am actually capable of doing now is if I've got 8 people on the screen, I can coach all 8 at the same time.
Mhm.
And then they can come with their little individual things during the coaching sessions and tweak that. But basically, it's about 8 things that we're all as small business owners dealing with, which is why there are 8 modules in my program. And once you start talking about those 8 things in any group of small business owners, you're going to hear, oh yeah, I know that one. Oh yeah, this is how that has impacted me. And oh God, if I could only, deal with that, then my life would be gravy. And then you've got other people piling on. And then, there's clients in this group as well. And they can go, well, here's how that was for me. It was the exact same way. And this is where Tanya took me from here to here. And this is what you can do. So it's a win-win-win.
Yeah. 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 As it should be. And Fritz connected us because of course it is. Of course that's who you are. That's why we want you around. And so of course, everyone here listen to the recording, come into the lounge, say hello to Tanya, get chatting with her, take what you need. But of course, if you're listening to this on YouTube or someplace else, we're gonna have links in the description so that you can get in touch directly. But Tanya, like what would be, if they're listening to this, what you've told them now if they're listening to this recording. So what next action do you want them to take in getting in touch with you or accessing resources? Like what's your invitation to them?
Well, there's two things. One of the things, if like they want to kind of quote unquote pre-qualify, is that I'll put a link to a webinar that I've recently created for small business owners, and it gives you pretty much a blueprint as to what you would need to transform. It's simple, but it's not easy. But it's just 5 simple shifts that you need to make to start to turn this perspective that way. Right?
Mm.
5 simple shifts that you need to make to eliminate overwhelm, beat burnout, and be able to wait a minute, I just want to grab it because, these things are fluid as well. Yeah, 5 shifts to escape overwhelm, beat burnout, and feeling trapped in your business without sacrificing your success. Because a lot of people are afraid that, oh no, now you're telling me to use less time, then I'm not going to be able to
Right.
serve my and I'm going to lose money, I'm going to lose
Right.
revenue. That is going to be the
Yeah,
exact
I have to give up
opposite.
something that I want. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not into that. I'm actually, and what people, so that's the first thing, is to have a look at that. And then at the end of that, there's an opportunity to book a call with me where we'll sit together, just, one-on-one, chop it up for about 40 minutes. I'll be able to ask you some specific questions about what part of your workday is really not working for you and why. And then we can
Mm.
have as to how you can turn that 180 degrees and get the outcome that you want. Now, people can, if you've heard enough from this and you just want to jump to the front of the queue, I will also put my booking link in where you can choose a time. And wherever you are in the world, I work with people all over the world. I work with people in Europe and Canada. I'm in the States right now. I have clients in Bermuda, in Canada, in London, in Denmark, Amsterdam, everywhere, right? So it's, when you book this calendar, when you bring up this calendar link, it's going to show you a time in your time zone. So you just pick the time that works best for you, and then we'll get on a call like this, a Zoom call, just because that's easier, and because then we eliminate all kinds of phone issues with people, internationally. And we'll get on a Zoom call, and no cameras, so you can get on your Zoom call with your cup of coffee and your morning hair, your bed head, and your PJs if you need to, and we'll chop it up and we'll get you from where you are right now to where you want to be and what you would need to do, and I will help them do that.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So yeah, in the main chat where you said hello earlier, feel free to drop any links that you want.
Okay.
And I will grab them up. And then if you want to send anything to me via email as well, just privately, whatever you want, I'll make sure that they get into the description. And then of course I'm going to share the links with you too, if you'd like to share them along. But this has been so great and super, super illuminating. I think that, like, at least for me, my biggest takeaway is really about beliefs and perspective. That time, yes, it's finite, and it's just going along, as you said, on its way. It's what we put on it that gets all in our way and gums everything up. And so, I think that's at least for me, a call to action is to really think about what I believe around time, how I use time, how I want to use time. I think that's really important for everyone who's been listening as well. So thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
being here and for taking the time to share with us. I'm really excited about it. And is there any final words that you'd like to leave us with before we head out?
Well, if anyone is wondering, the thing that keeps most people stuck is that they're wondering, will this work for me? And I, I will, here's the thing, they don't need to be afraid to call me because I will let them know. I will let them know according to what you're doing in your business and how you've got your business structured. If it's a match, then great, we can talk about that. If it's not a match, you're gonna leave that call with absolute clarity about what's in your way, whether we work together or not. And I really, really
Mm.
don't care either way. This is what I do. I do it all day long. I'll talk to maybe 5 people per day, and perhaps I will extend an offer to 1 or 2. I want to keep it tight, so it's not like, this is not just a y'all come, okay? This is a real,
Yes.
this, you don't have to worry about getting on a call with me and being sold something, because it's just not possible.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful. Really, really, really awesome. I feel so blessed that you took the time out to talk with us.
My pleasure.
And yeah, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
and and we look forward to chatting with you here in the lounge. And definitely stick around, pop in every so often. We're excited to have you. Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here. This is great. I need to learn this platform. And that'll be my next thing, to kind of learn how this platform works. But I can see already I'm going to do a couple of tweaking. It's like about my name, like TDW. It's like, who the heck is that? So I will in here and do some editing when I get a chance tomorrow. And it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much, Veronica, for having me, and for really inviting me in here to showcase what's available for small business owners, because that's what I'm all about.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And for yourself, I think I'm just gonna say this again because I every time I say it, somebody else's light bulb goes off. There's all kinds of apps these days for communication. There's Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp and Telegram and now Discord and Slack and all these different tools. And I'm a big fan of not using tools that are owned by big scary white men. But uh, I I use a tool called Furdy, like Furby, but with a D instead of a B. And it is open source, so you know exactly what the data is doing, and it pulls all of those messenger tools together. And so rather than having to remember to open Discord and remembering to open Slack, or remembering to open Messenger, you can have them all in one place. And so if you're intrigued and you want to stick around with us, I recommend using Furdy, and I will also link that for those listening to the recording too, because I have found that it has created a lot of peace of mind for me. And then I don't have to mess with the time of managing all the apps.
Very good. Very good. If that's working, like I say, that's great. Anything that works. And yeah.
All
So are we
right.
just around, are there people in that are looking for Q&A? Is there anyone that needs to ask me something, or I can't
Not
see.
today. Oh yeah, no, not today. So we're gonna dismount. We're gonna head out. Like I said, sometimes everyone comes live. Sometimes everybody begs for the recording, which is why we do both. And so yeah, this has been perfect. And I, I'll be in touch via email for sure, if not here.
Enjoy Amsterdam. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. I love Amsterdam.
I'm
So
really loving it.
have a great time, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you. We'll see you
All right.
later.